Hey, and welcome back to today's morning report on Monday the 9th of March with me, Rich Perry, market analyst at Handtech Markets. Moving on to the euro now. Euro is, or certainly had a sharp move to the downside on Friday, big losses, and the technical outlook remains very weak, very strongly negative. And it certainly looks as though pushing towards this next fib level of 107.92. However, there's a bit of a bounce going on today, arguably a dead cat bounce, but we'll see how it goes. But before I get into that, look at these momentum indicators, negative across the board. The only thing I would say is that RSI has sort of hit a low of 21.2, which is sort of around the levels at which you do tend to see this RSI, or during that January sell-off anyway, getting a bit stretched. But look at the historic move, certainly during this downside in the euro, that August sell-off 18 around the 20 mark. So there is the prospect of further downside for this euro, I think, in due course. But near term, you could well see a bit of a technical rally going on if the chart ever comes up. Thank you very much. And that's what we're seeing today, sort of unwinding this move. This is the hourly RSI. You've had a crossover, you've had the improvement in the momentum just slightly in terms of the last few hours, and it is just unwinding, I think, that bearish move. To be honest, you look at the resistance, that was the reaction high, 109.88. That was just prior to that payrolls report that came out. So that is the initial resistance, and that pretty much coincides with that reaction low that we had on Thursday as well. So that is your resistance area, or first real resistance, I would say, that comes in 109.88, and maybe there's a slight element of resistance around the 109 figure mark, because that was a minor reaction high that we saw following on from that initial payroll sell-off again. And what we've seen is that the euro has turned back from that 109 figure level in the last few minutes, so that you could argue is a minor resistance area. But to be honest, I'd be using any real opportunity to sell into this strength. RSI tends to get towards the 60s mark, but to be honest, it's just, I think, a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. You've already had the stochastics rolling over, the RSI falling back from the mid-50s, so it's difficult to say, difficult to play the dead cat bounce trade, because you never really know how far it's going to go before the selling pressure is going to kick back in again. But ultimately, I think it will kick back in, perhaps wait for a sell signal. This is where trading on the long side in that dead cat bounce is a very risky strategy, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. I'd recommend sort of sitting on the sidelines and waiting for it to sort of pan out, and then start to go back in on the short side. But it's a difficult one to know exactly when that point's going to be. You've already had that, as I said, that resistance coming in at 109 figure, but the first real resistance on the intraday chart comes in at 109.88. Anyway, I wish you good luck in your trading on euro today, and I will speak to you later. Thank you.